Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll look at another problem from the Blind 75 list of problems, and this problem is named Encode and Decode Strings. In this problem, we are given a list of strings and we are supposed to send that over a network by encoding it and writing the code for decoding it as well as encoding it. Now, let's say we have two machines, machine 1 and machine 2, and we are supposed to send this string of this vector of strings hello comma world over this network. But the thing is, we can't send this vector directly over this network. So what we need to do is convert this vector of strings to only a singular string that can be sent over the network, and that is called encoding. Now what machine 2 will do is it will have some decoding logic or a function called decode, which will convert this singular string into the original vector of strings. So this is the encode function which will run on machine 1, and decode function will run on machine 2 when machine 1 has to send something to machine 2. And it can be the reverse as well, that when machine 2 has to send something to machine 1, then encode will come here and decode will come here. Now we are supposed to write a logic such that this encode and decode function work as expected. And we are also given that the number of strings is 200 and each string is less than 200 in length. And these strings can contain any 256 ASCII characters. Now let's see how we'll solve this problem. Now the first thing we can think of is that we'll need to somehow separate these strings in this one string. So suppose we are creating a new string and just joining these strings, hello world. And let's say we are using this string directly and we are sending this over the network. But if we send this directly, how will machine 2 know that where to put a space between hello and world, how to separate these? There is nothing in between these. You would argue that we could use something like a comma or something else to delimit these words, which is also called a delimiter. Yes, technically we can use something like a comma or a dot, but we are given that string stri contains any possible characters out of 256 valid ASCII characters. So what we can do is use something outside of the given range. So outside of these 256 characters, any character that is valid, we can use as a delimiter. So let's say there is some character, let's call it gamma. And if I use that as a delimiter, so after hello, I'll insert gamma, then use world and insert gamma again. So now when this string comes to machine 2, in the decode logic, we can write the code that whenever we encounter a gamma, end the current word and append it to a string, append it to a array. Similarly for world, when we see this gamma, which is the delimiter, we append it to this vector. And at the end, we just return the result. Now let's see how this can be coded. Now here what I have done is, in the encode function, I am getting a vector of strings and I have created a resultant string, and for all strings in the input vector, I am pushing each character into this resultant string. At the end of that, I am pushing a new character. This character is a random character which is outside of the ASCII range. It is outside of the ASCII range as well as outside of the UTF-8 range. So in this question, if the interviewer asks that what if you are given UTF-8 instead of ASCII, so you can just look up the ranges of both of these online and create a random character and cast an integer to that particular character. Now in the decode, we similarly do. We create a vector of strings result and we create a temporary string variable, and whenever we encounter this delimiter, we push it push the current temporary variable to the resultant vector and make the current variable empty. Otherwise, just append the current character to the current string and at the end just return the result. Now, what else can we do to solve this problem? Is there any other approach we can use? Now, if we want to remove the restriction that we don't have to depend on the input character set, what we can do is that instead of using a delimiter, we can also use a fixed size string that contains the length of the string that is about to follow it. So for example, in this hello world, and we are given that also the string length is less than equal to 200. So that means 3 digits will be enough for it to fit length of any string in the input array. So for hello world, what I'll do is first find the length of hello, so that is 5. So I'll do 0, 0, 5, append the string hello, then what is the length of world? 0, 0, 5, and append the world string. So this will be my final string, which I'll send over the network. And while decoding, what I will do is start reading from the first position, read 3 digits, and these 3 digits I'll convert it to an integer. So I know that I have to read next 5 digits to get the first string. Push it to a resultant vector, read the next 3 strings, which is 5, then read the next 5 strings to get the next word in the vector. This approach is also called transfer chunk encoding, and it is also used by the HTTP protocol. Now, let's see how we'll implement this in code. This is the encode function. I create a resultant string res, and for all strings in the input array, what I'll do is first I'm finding the length and converting into string of length str length, which I've defined here 3. Once I have this length, I'll have to pad it. So I'm using this pad length function to create it of size 3. So for example, I have 5. I need to add 2 more zeros at the beginning of it to make it 3 digits. So that is being done in this pad length function. After that, I'm just pushing this length, and after that I'm pushing the string into the final string and then returning it. Similarly for decode, what I am doing is getting the first strlen characters to get the string of the length and using that length to read the next len characters and then pushing it back into a current string, and at the end of it pushing this current string to a resultant vector, and at the end returning this string. So remember, this is also called chunked transfer encoding. And it is also used in HTTP protocol. You can read more about it by looking it up on the internet. So that was all for this question. Do like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Happy coding.